Great question. And I think anybody who tries to predict what the future will be like is a fool, is a nice way of saying that, because it's so unpredictable. What I have seen is trends. For example, in companies, in organizations, before the purpose had to be really nailed into people's interests. Now they know they need to bring purpose to their lives and companies, organizations, and work. The question is more how. So I see a trend going towards more purpose-driven organizations and interactions. A very important point is, instead of thinking about, observing about the future, I'd love to talk about building the future. I work for BBF, Ethical Business, building the future. Their attitude of being in control of deciding what the future will be like, I think is much more powerful than just sitting and listening and observing and complaining about the future that might be. What this implies is a great level of control on your side, a level of interaction to actually make that happen. Ideally not on your own, but with other people. So there's three key elements of how you decide your career and how you can prepare for it. One is the triggers to act. We are pushed all over the place by triggers all the time, so making decisions is very difficult. We're approaching the second point, a very collaborative area, one in which having that ability is very, very important. And the third element is a constantly evolving and fast changing situation. So starting from the last one, fast changing, how do I address that? In all these changes, it's important to stop and focus. So focus for a while on something, and then for sure, do not be stuck on that. I call it adaptive focus, then move and focus on the next thing. People observing you will go crazy if you keep changing your mind. If instead you're seeing focus in one area and then the trend the next and the next, that will give you reliability and will allow you to see the great opportunities, because you've been focusing in one area that will arise. In terms of collaborative, bring women, work with women, have a feminine mindset. It's so important to move forward and to think about what are the collaborative elements, which means not just convincing others, but listening to others, co-creating with others. That's a huge area for your career that you really need to develop and be great at to have success. And in terms of triggers overload, try to understand what is happening around you. Stop and observe. Don't just react to everything. That will make you very inefficient. That will make you a slave. Instead, stop and think and observe. Why am I receiving this trigger? What do I see there? The more you're observant of what's around you, the more effective you will be in identifying and creating a meaningful career. So what I value most, what has been most useful for me, is conversations. Meaningful conversations that lead to action. There's the three elements of this. Conversations means exchanging. Talking, listening, trying things out, experimenting, testing with others. That's what I mean by conversations. If they're meaningful, if they're filled with meaning, if they're worthwhile, they will give you a lot. You will give a lot to others. It's a reciprocity element that will make it very interesting and ideally elevate these conversations towards some kind of purpose, values, spirituality in my case, finding something that's really worth talking about. So really good, enjoyable, fun conversations that lead to action. So the action element is fundamental, because if you just talk, I found that I learn X amount, but when I start to put things into action, that's when the real learning and development happens. So meaningful conversations leading to purpose-driven and impact actions.